as you show a legitimate interest in the career path.
Hello, my name is Philip Giratano.
Matthew Heil.
Giselle Guerrero.
Today we have some recruiters from Miller Cooper here. We're going to hopefully learn some cool stuff.
Super excited. My name is Sam Citro. I did my undergraduate at DePaul University in Chicago. I majored in accounting. I ultimately went on to get a CPA shortly following school. From there, I actually started with Miller Cooper full-time, much of that being a result of the internship I did with Miller Cooper as a junior. About 6.5 or so years into my career, a little bit of a pivot, more of an operations-related role. Actively doing campus recruiting, experience recruiting. I have the background. I'm able to really talk to students about what it's like, both in practice and from a 30,000-foot view, or from an operations standpoint.
I am Destiny Moore. I have been with Miller Cooper for 2 years. Very involved on the campus side of things, involved in kind of the operational pieces. We do a lot of events with students, a lot of office visits. Thank you for having us. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
What is the most common things that you guys typically look for interns from a hiring perspective?
Are you involved in student organizations? Do you show that you have been working and going to school and that you have built this time management skill? Because that's a big piece of it. In terms of accounting knowledge, we're not quizzing anyone on anything coming into it. That's, the purpose of our internship is to train you and teach you those pieces. You don't have to have your entire 5-year career plan mapped out.
A lot of times I'm just looking for soft skills. A lot of you are on an even playing field on paper. Could I put you in front of a client tomorrow? Having practiced for 6+ years, that's one of the biggest things that a manager is hoping for when you build out a team that's going to go out and do an audit or do a tax return, is who I'm putting out in front of the client going to be somebody that's able to maintain that relationship. I can tell from doing screens and things of that nature, right? Talking to you on the phone, meeting you at a career fair, whatever the case may be. It's going to be the soft skills. Maybe you don't have the best soft skills or the best communication skills of all time. That's fine. Know that that's not the case. Find ways to build those skills. Go to networking events, right? The biggest thing that we always say is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Students are very nervous to start a new job or an internship because they have, all these high expectations for themselves, and that's okay, but you aren't going to know everything going into any position. So even once you get the job, you still have a very large learning curve.
Recognizing it that, hey, I'm not the best,
Sure.
I'm not an expert, I'm not going out partying every day. I can't spin my words super well, but I'm trying to be better with it. I'm trying to refine myself and get better. I'm trying to talk to recruiters. A semester ago, I was petrified. I made it a mission to talk to at least one recruiter.
And that's a perfect example, right? What you're doing now is exactly what we just said.
I honestly would have never thought of that. Yeah. I would have always thought it's you have to have these certifications, requirements, straight A's to get it. But looking at the person beyond what they can see from a piece of paper, when you get to interview them and talk with them, and then you get to figure out their personality, their characteristics, it's honestly, I really think it's a wonderful thing. Moving on, from that point, what are some other things that you guys wish you knew, speaking from prior experience, from your first internships?
Accounting is tough. It's not for everyone. You will not know what your 20-year plan is going to be, your 5-year plan. Things are always going to change. You may think you know something, you get into your career, it's completely different than what you thought, or maybe you enjoy different aspects.
You'd be surprised as to what questions people are willing to answer if you simply ask them. I was actually sitting on a panel a couple days ago, and a partner at a small tax firm, and we were talking about networking. How do you get better at that? If you walk up to somebody and flatter them, say, hey, you're really good at this. How do I also get good at this? There's a high probability that that person is going to help you. Find out what you want to do. Find those people. One of the most valuable things that I've done over my time at Miller Cooper is simply going out to lunch with partners or managers. Nothing formal, not talking about jobs, not talking about engagements, not talking about an audit or a tax return. Literally just understanding how they got to where they're at now. And part of that is understanding the business, right? It is one thing to do a tax return, it is one thing to do a financial statement audit, but in order to progress and get to the highest level of being a partner, owning the firm, all of that good stuff that a lot of accounting students maybe see themselves doing 10, 12, 15 years down the road, you have to understand how a service firm makes money. How are we profitable? How do we ultimately make decisions that are in the best interest of the firm from a business standpoint, right? Learning all that stuff was very much a product of me simply going, sitting at lunch, and just picking people's brains constantly. So I wish I would have done that earlier, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Yeah, I really like that too.
I feel like many of us, I mean, students at least, who wouldn't even consider that.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and that's not like necessarily an immediate expectation either, right? My point is when you're graduating school and taking that first full-time role as an auditor or a tax accountant, or maybe you even go into private and it's not public, right? I don't want to make some blanket statement that it has to be public. You're focusing when you immediately graduate on, all right, how do I catch myself up to speed, right? I know nothing. How do I figure all that stuff out? You're literally learning the very basics of what it is that you're going into, right? So again, it's not an expectation necessarily, but as far as advice goes, the faster you learn that business piece, the faster the other stuff even is going to go, right? Understanding the why of what you're doing when you enter a role, all that is very important.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I actually really like I heard you say that piece about like going out to lunch with for me personally, like if it's not someone I don't know, like on a personal level,
Sure.
It might seem weird at first.
But I feel like eating is a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you don't want to be like eating with like ribs and you're
Right.
sauce. Like something like a first impression with. So I feel like many people can be reserved in terms of like they want to eat at home.
For sure,
Whatever,
and I think it's important to look at it from the perspective of you as a first-year associate or as an intern or whatever the case may be. You are far more nervous in those situations, right? Than like the partner or the group of managers that you might be sitting with at lunch that have been doing this for 20 years and it's their job and that's what they do and they love their job and whatever. Like, again, it's be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Because it's always going to result in a positive outcome.
And it's, I think, very normal for kind of any corporate job. Like, everyone needs lunch. I think our firm specifically, I think we try to design it in a way that people do get comfortable, and we want to meet with everyone. We want people to network. We want you to know people just outside of, the person that sits next to you in the cubicle. So I think, again, it comes down to the environment and the people that you want to be around. But I think, a lot of times corporate firms will, really set you up in that way, or you should have that mentorship coming in. So I think that's a piece of it too. Like, the onus is on you, but there's a piece of it on our end and from
Yes.
a management perspective of that mentorship, that camaraderie. Like, that is something that you should look for whenever you go and look for firms as well, because I think that's a big piece of it.
Clearly, Miller Cooper hasn't really been staying stagnant in terms of size.
Sure.
IPA is named Miller Cooper Best of Best Firms 2024. You guys rank within. you guys rank within Accounting Today's top 100 firms.
Yeah.
And I guess, is there anything either you could say regarding the growth that you guys as a firm has been seeing recently?
Yeah, I mean, I know Sam can talk about what it looked like when he first started, but yes, I mean, there's a lot of talk about mergers and acquisitions and things like that happening right now, and that's not something Miller Cooper has ever done. So we are the 11th largest accounting firm in Chicago, but the largest independent firm in Chicago. So yeah, very much something to be proud of. Yeah. So that growth continues because the need is there. We aren't just growing for the purpose of growing. Like, our client needs continue to grow. The client work is there, so therefore we have to hire more people to do it. So yeah, that growth is going to continue. Our plan is to double in size in the next 10 years. So we are currently at around 500, a little over 500 employees. So we're looking at being over 1,000 in the next 10 years.
So that means more opportunities for possible interns coming in.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny pointed out, I did my internship nine years ago, so the math. And ultimately, yeah, we were probably about 250, give or take. Obviously now we're at 500, give or take. And with that said, I think one of the things that we've done an absolute phenomenal job with is our development, right? When you have any business, forget that it's an accounting firm, but any business at all, right? If you're experiencing rapid growth and you don't have the processes or the systems in place to handle that growth, right? You could see a pretty significant lag between your people growth and your client growth or your revenue growth, whatever it might be if you're selling products or whatever. My point there is we've done a phenomenal job of developing those individuals that are coming in fresh to the firm, right? So our young employees, our young in charges, our young managers, developing them over time so that we can keep pace with the client growth. You got to bring those people along for the ride, otherwise you're again going to have a pretty significant lag. So, we've done a really phenomenal job. I think we offer absolutely incredible client service. We offer a really high-end work product, and at the end of the day, it's a great place to build a career. I think a lot of times there's this stigma around public accounting that, oh yeah, I'm going to do it for 3 years or 2 years, and then I'm going to bounce. I'm going to go to industry. There are firms out there, Miller Cooper included, but other firms as well. There are firms where you can build a long-term career, and I think that's one of the things that I want to sort of get across is, just because it's public accounting doesn't mean you have to stick with whatever the status quo is of leaving within 2 to 3 years. Like, there is opportunity in public accounting, and even more so from a monetary standpoint, right? As there are fewer CPAs, fewer accountants out there. Somebody's going to have to do the work, right? Economy continues to grow, number of CPAs continues to decline, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So ultimately, yeah, we're in a great spot, and I think Destiny, hit it on the head. We continue to do that organically.
Yeah, you sure have to work hard, but
Without a doubt.
It's
It's
not
a difficult
easy.
major.
Yeah.
It's a difficult major. I think anyone in here that has studied accounting or is currently
Yeah.
studying accounting would say
When you
it's
see those credits and debits not matching, it's
exactly.
it's really
Yeah,
difficult.
it's a panic attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you go into accounting, you will come out of college with a full-time job offer, whatever that
For
is.
sure.
It could be anything.
Yeah.